another team that has got a lot of promise here is the Minnesota Wild. Alex, Fajardo, whatever. My name's Paul. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of future here. You got Kaprizov, you got Zuccarello, excuse me.
Thank you.
You have Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin, Matt Dumba, who actually, funny enough, a friend of mine hates Matt Dumba, but that's a whole different conversation. And you got Marc Andre Fleury at the age of 37 as the bona fide number one goaltender. Let's go into the depth charts. Let me back up for a second just to make sure I said it. Yep, 5.7 in cap space. All right. Let's get into it. The first line for the Minnesota Wild is looking like this. Gabriel, Kaprizov, Ryan Hartman, Matt Zuccarello. Yeah. Kaprizov had 81 games played, 47 goals, 61 assists for 108 points. Phenomenal year. Phenomenal. You got Ryan Hartman with 82 games played, 34 goals, 31 assists for 65 points. Really solid season.
Yep.
And then you got Matt Zuccarello.
Sorry, I had to do that. That's what we do out here in New York for Zuccarello. He's still in our hearts, man. We love that guy.
70 games played, 24 goals, 55 assists, 79 points, over a point per game. Good playmaker. Mm-hmm. I mean, this first line is really good. So
they're deadly, man. Man, listen, I don't care how small Zuccarello is. That guy's got heart for every team in the NHL, period. He is a no-quit, hard-nosed, everything you want in a player. It just comes in a pint size of 5'8", and he's explosive. I don't know how he does it, man. He reminds me of like a Theo Fleury, where he just grinds, he gets in there, he does everything you want from a guy. You wish you had guys that were 6'4", 6'5", that can do what he does. But he just brings it every single night. I love the guy. Man, it was one of the saddest moments when he went, but it was part of the rebuild process. But Zook, forever a Ranger in my heart.
You got the second line. You got Jordan Greenway, 25 years old, 62 games, 10 goals, 17 assists, 27 points. You got Eriksson, EK, 77 games played, 26 goals, 23 assists, 49 points. Very solid second line production. And you have Marcus Foligno, the good Foligno. 74 games played, 23 goals, 19 assists for 42 points. Solid second line production. I mean, I like that second line. It's I think Greenway will have more to give. I mean, he's a big boy at 6'6". I mean, I'm surprised they didn't put him back in defense at a young age. Like, oof, that's a big boy. But having that much strength and power up front with his wheels, I mean, you can't really complain. And then you got Brandon Daheim, right? 80 games, 6 goals, 11 assists for 17 points. Frederick Gaudreau, 76 games played, 14 goals, 30 assists, 44 points. Matthew Boldy on an ELC contract, 47 games played, 15 goals, 24 assists for 39 points. I think, that's a decent third line. I think you'll have to see more out of Brandon, a little bit more production there. Yeah. He should be probably more around at least like a 0.4 per game clip. Boldy played extremely well in the limited games last season. I mean, I say there you could make an argument of him even getting bumped up a line, right? Because he can play left wing, maybe moving Greenway down a line as a more of a grinder, right? Maybe you'll have a little bit more offensive upside there on the second line. Just my opinion. I don't know what your thoughts on that is.
No, I agree. I think, put the big boy down, maybe a line. Still pretty young. I think let him develop on that fourth line, grind it out, and try to get his point production up with hopefully weaker defenses and probably a little bit more space.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, it looked like he played in 14 minutes average time on ice, Greenway. So I think him in a third line role would be fine. You got fourth line Connor Duar, a young guy, 35 games, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. You have Marco Rossi, ELC, only 2 games played, 0 points. And then you have Tyson Jost, 24. Probably the elder statements on that line, which is hilarious. 80 games played, 8 goals, 12 assists for 20 points. A bunch of young guys on the youth, which I don't see on the fourth line. Nothing wrong with that. Give them a chance to develop with limited minutes. I think overall this is I think probably like I don't want to just say above average. I'm using that a bit. Probably like just beneath being a star level offense. No, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go there. I think they're probably going to be a top 8 offensive team this season.
Yeah.
I think the offensive scoring's there. It's I'm trying to. I don't like to make leaps, but I'm just looking at it, really thinking at it. I think there's going to be more to give with some of these younger guys. And I mean, if Boldy's already averaging that many points per game, I mean, there's only the future's just bright, you know.
Yeah.
And I think Kaprizov's talent, Zuccarello's talented. You know, there's a lot to give there, man.
Yeah, a lot of upside.
And let's look at their decor. You have slotted here Jacob Middleton, 26 years old, 66 games played, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. You have Jared Spurgeon.
He's good.
65 games played, 10 goals, 30 assists, 40 points. Yeah, he's very good. Mm-hmm. You have Jonas Brodin. 73 games played, 5 goals, 25 assists, 30 points. And you have Matt Dumba, one of my friend's most hated defensemen. 57 games played, 7 goals, 20 assists for 27 points. And Dumba and Brodin averaged the most time on ice for that defense. They probably took more. They ate more of those top line minutes, it seems like.
Yeah.
And then on the third pairing, you have Alex Golgoski. I don't know how the fuck you'd say that. Goloski. We'll just go with that. 72 games played, 2 goals, 20 assists for 30 points. That's very solid production. And then you have the rookie, essentially, with Callan Addison, 22 years old, 15 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. Had only averaged 13 minutes time on ice for a reason. I mean, I think this is a very solid defense core. I mean, I don't think it has maybe the shine of some of the other decors we've seen in the league thus far with all the points, but I think they play the actual position of defense extremely well.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the successful teams, and the successful team have defensemen that are producing points, that are involved in the offense a lot, right? And as you can see, these guys. I mean, nobody's overwhelmingly involved, right? Like a McCarr who had 86 points. But they equally have all pitched in on the offensive side of things, right? I expect Gillespie to move up with Spurgeon and Middleton move down with Addison, in my honest opinion, as a third defensive pairing. I think that'll probably be the best combination for them. Yeah, they're older when it comes to Gillespie and Spurgeon, but, I mean, their point production is only going to help the overall.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be you'll probably see a little bit more of an uptick this season. But I kind of like their decor. I've watched Minnesota play, and it's weird, right? Like, Minnesota's like the hotbed of hockey in the United States, and they play a very well-rounded two-way game. I mean, they're very hard to play against. That's why they were so successful last season. Yep. Now, going to goaltending, you have the legend himself, Marc Andre Fleury, at the age of 37.
Still the highlight reel.
56 games played, 2.91 goals against, and a 908 save percentage with 28 wins, 23 losses. Now, some people are like, well, that save percentage is not amazing. I'm like, listen, he started out the season with Chicago. Like, I'd have to look at the splits, go into more details in that regard to break it down, but he played pretty solid for Minnesota. Some people say there was controversy with not starting Cam Talbot in the playoffs and starting Fleury instead. I mean, Talbot was the guy that got you there in a lot of ways. So,
all right. So I'll give you the split real quick, right? So when he was on Chicago, he played a total of 45 games. He had a 2.95 goals against average and a save percentage of .908. When he went to Minnesota for the tail end of the season, he only played 11 games, but he had a 2.74 goals against average and a .910 save percentage.
Okay, so similar, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of surprising, but maybe it could have been just getting used to that system, completely different systems. But I think Marc Andre Fleury, until he proves me he can't play at a high level, I'm just going to believe in him.
Yeah.
Now let's go to their backup. Philip Gustafsson, 24 years old, 6'2", same size as Fleury. 18 games played at a 3.55 goals against, 8.92 save percentage, 5 wins, 12 losses. Is this hoping this Gustafsson kid can really get turned it around? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that would worry me, right? Because you have an older goaltender, and Marc Andre Fleury. What's he known for, Fajardo? Acrobatic, like dynamic saves, right?
Yeah.
But what does that do when you're older? When you're flopping all around like that, you're going to pull something. Yeah. I mean, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But as you get older, you don't know, and it's like I don't. The one criticism I'll give on this team is they got to have a better backup plan. I know Talbot got dealt to Ottawa, and I don't know. I'm not as comfortable with this backup plan. I think they should have brought in a little bit more proven.
I think the kid gets his chance to learn from somebody who's literally his mirror image in like
height and weight,
right? Physicality, right?
Yeah.
So you hope that he picks something up from Fleury and turns that corner to be that next level goalie, right? That's what you hope as a franchise. Will it happen? We don't know, right? But I mean, he obviously comes from a good lineage of goalies from Sweden, so you hope that it translates over. And you know, I think that's what their big picture was. Yeah. I like Cam Talbot a lot, but let's face it, you can't have two old guys just, being there because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen where you're going to have to look down deep into a prospect or something like that. So, yeah, you got a guy now who maybe he might be the guy of the future if he makes that turn. But considering you have Fleury, you give him some space to learn. You give him someone to idolize in a fashion of hard work and trying to get to the next level. You know what I mean? So hopefully he can pick something up. He was drafted very high. He was drafted 55th by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second round of the 2016 draft. So you really hope that he can kind of start living up to his potential.
I mean, I think the goalie of the future, I already know who it is. It's Wallstead. I don't know if you've seen any of him at games in Europe. Phenomenal goaltender. He was drafted 20th overall in 2021. He's only 19. He's not even going to probably be in the league for another few years. This guy, though, will be the goalie of the future. I think they have a lot of promise in him. You don't pick a goalie that high usually. And Wallstead, I mean, and that's actually what we're going to be doing is like it'd be fun to go onto each team's prospects and other videos and kind of predicting or maybe kind of giving our opinions on. But I think Wallstead's definitely the goalie of the future. But for right now, you're right. Gustafsson, excuse me. He got traded here. He was drafted relatively high. Maybe him getting this shot as a backup and learning from Fleury might be the best thing for him.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, let's get into the rankings. Where you think Chicago, I apologize, Minnesota. The Minnesota Wild is going to finish the season.
I expect them to be challenging for that first spot. That was a team that I think can take the top of this division over Colorado if everything goes well. If Fleury still can be the Fleury of old, right? I think that he'll be the difference maker, and yeah, I think they can. I think they can grab first, but I definitely think they're not getting any lower than second.
I think they're going to finish second. Lowest, I think, will be third. I think Colorado's is a little bit. I actually like Colorado's goalie situation a bit more. That's not an insult to Fleury. I think if you were to say goalies in their prime, Fleury is the far best out of all of them. But I just worry about Fleury getting older, maybe getting dinged up, missing some time. I'm hoping that has nothing to do with that, but I think second or third. I think they're probably going to finish again second place, just because I believe in that offense. I believe in that defense. I just hoping the backup can play well, and I'm hoping Fleury can stay healthy. So, there's a lot of bright future here, in my opinion, for this team, and they're going to be competing for a cup, in my opinion.